The last class, I think we discussed about Docker volumes, right? Today we'll be discussing about networking. Networking in Docker, I mean, how it works and everything, how we communicate from one container to another container. So all these things. So that we'll see today. So let's start usually. Let's start with basic. Let's say sorry. So do I let me run two containers first. So now you can see, right, I have two containers. See, test and test one. Can they communicate each other? Let's see. Let's go to maybe one container. I'm going inside test. Sorry. Let's try to ping the other container like test to one. Currently I'm in test. Let's try to ping or curl anything. Ping, what is it? Test the container name or ID. So it's saying bad address. So let's try to do telnet. No, it's okay. So it's not working, right? Let's try to do telnet. Telnet test one. What is the port? 80. Okay, not found. It's okay, that's fine. But yeah, if you see ping bad address is coming, what happens here is like it means it's not connecting. I mean it's connecting, but ping with the host name, with the container name, it's not working. Let's do one thing. There will be an IP actually for container, right? There will be by default an IP which comes by default. We haven't discussed that yet, but yeah, there is an IP. If you inspect, you'll get the IP address. Let's try to communicate by this one. Ping. See, it's working. With the container name, it won't work. It's fine, but with the IP, it worked. As well as, let's try with container ID. This is the ID. Let's try if this works or not. No, it won't work. So what's happening by default here is when you create a container, automatically Docker have inbuilt network. So your container will be created in that network by default, and it will get an IP address. So we haven't done anything, right? For that, we haven't done anything. All we just you see, right? All we just did is created a container. That's it. Then it automatically assigns the IP address. How it works is internally Docker have its own network. Like let's say our laptop, it'll have a network, right? Obviously, to connect to that, to work with that. Similarly, Docker also have network by default, which will allows us to communicate with each other containers. So, like, let's say you can write, of course, by default, we cannot access with the host name or, container name like that. It won't work. But with IP, we can able to communicate. So, what this Docker default network does is, whenever you create a new container, it will assign the IP address from its list, and it will. That's it. Once it's assigned the IP address, we can able to use it. We can inspect the container. We can able to see the IP address. See IP address. Got it? So here what happens is, what is that network and how we create our own networks and how many types networks are there in Docker and how those works, that we'll see today. It's a small concept only, don't worry. So by default, there is a network called bridge network. How do I know the bridge network is there or not? Docker network, LS. These are the networks which we have. So bridge network, driver bridge. Name, this is fine. Driver is bridge. So this is a default bridge network which will be used whenever you create a new container. So what happens is, here bridge network means, sorry, within a single machine, within a single host, no matter how many containers are there, they can able to talk to each other with the help of this bridge network, driver bridge. Got it? There's a default network. By default, in your laptop, let's say, or in some Linux machine, wherever it is, you are creating a Docker containers means by default it will take the bridge network which enables the communication between all the containers. It's by default. Now there is one more network. There are multiple networks, or we can able to create our own bridge network. This is the default, obviously. Let's create our own Docker network. Create. What is the name you can give? Maybe test. I mean just giving test name. Hyphen driver bridge. So it's created. Let's try. See, our own network, bridge network is created. Got it? Now, if you want to run your container in this network, whichever you created, you have to pass an argument. You have to pass an argument. Now, same thing. Docker run -d -p blah blah all these things. Same thing. Test. Sorry. Test to -net or network. What is the network name? Test. Test is the network name, right? See? This argument we need to pass. And what is the image name? So it's created. Now how the hell I know whether it's created in the network or not? Inspect it. See the IP address. Got it. Networks test. See the IP address. It's changed, right? Means it's created. The container is created in this network. Now let's go inside this container, whichever we created. Test2/bin/sh. Okay, sorry, my bad. Ping the other container IP maybe. What is that IP? This one. Now what I'm trying to do is I have created my own network and I created container in my own network. Now I'm trying to ping other container which is in a different network. Let's see if this works or not. See, they are not working. See, ping is not responding back. See, you got it right what I'm saying. If you want, if you want, if you want Docker, multiple Docker containers to communicate, if you want multiple Docker containers to communicate, you need to be, create them in a same network. Got it? Is You need to create them in a same network so they can able to talk to each other. Got it? Can't we kind of communicate if they are in a different networks? Yes, we can able to do that also. But by default, no. Correct? By default, we cannot do it. How to communicate now? This is not an approach usually we don't do like this, because what we do is now, see, we have test 3 container within a different network and test 1 2 in a different network. Now what we do is Docker, there is a command called Docker network connect. What is the network name? Test network. What is the container name? Test 2. Oh, wait. Test 1, I believe, right? What I did just now is test 1 container is running in a different network. Now what I did, I added another network for test 1 or for test also. Now inspect those containers. Now observe here, this test, this container has 2 networks now. Now they can able to communicate each other. Now let's go ping. What is this? The test what I inspected. Wait, let me go back. Yeah, test 1, sorry. Test 1 I inspected. Let's hit this IP now. Let's see if this works or not working still. But try with the IP which it's assigned by the new network. It'll work. This is not a solution actually. This is just a hack. Uh, you know, Not a solution, but just like a hack to communicate. But but we don't do like this. We don't do this one. See what's happening is, let me tell you. 3 containers are there. One, two, three. So 1, 2 are in one network. 3 is in a different network. By default, those two networks cannot communicate each other. It's by default Docker. That's how Docker has been developed. Got it? And what is that? So if you want to communicate together, the only way is like this. You have to make sure all of them are in the same network. Since they are already created, the containers are already created, we can just attach that network to that container. That's it. If you're creating a new container, no need to worry, right? Just pass the -f network, run in that network whatever you want. But if you are uh, already your container already exists, just attach the network, which, as I told you, which we do not use that, which we do not do anything, because this is not a solution, as I told you, right? It's a hack. That's why always what we will do is, of course, we'll run everything in one network. We'll just create our own network, one bridge network within the system, and we use it. So which solves the problem. If you don't want the network, remove the containers. Test 2, test 1, test. Delete the network. Docker network, delete. What is a test, right? Wait. RM, not delete. See, it's deleted. It's gone. See, it's gone. So bridge network which we just created, which will be used. Got it? So bridge network is used to communicate. Remember again, it's used to communicate between containers within single host, within one host, not multiple. Got it? Within one host only, not multiple. Let's say if there are two machines, can within the two machines, one container is in one machine one, another container is in machine two. Can they communicate each other? No, by default. It's not possible. Only within one system, one server, or let's say whatever it is, with bridge network, within that one server, no matter how many containers are there, they can able to communicate each other. That's the thing. Got it? Not multiple systems. Just one system, multiple containers. But what if I want to communicate, you know, multiple systems? I have 10 missions. Each and every mission, some containers are running. I want all of them to communicate each other. What I need to do? Is there a way? Yes, there is a way. That's another network type called overlay. Overlay network. So this overlay network is to communicate between multiple hosts. But we don't discuss this today. When the topic comes, we'll discuss. So at the last topic as a Docker, we'll discuss the overlay. But yeah, now it's not. We won't be discussing this. But just remember it. Overlay network is used to communicate between multiple hosts. Multiple host. What I'm referring to, multiple systems or servers. Within that multiple systems, with the multiple containers, we can able to communicate each other. But we won't be discussing that now. Let's go to another type of network. There is something called host network. Host network means we are directly running the container within the host network. Of course, your host network means your server has a network, right? As I told you, Bridge is a Docker network. Bridge is a Docker network. And your host network means your container directly running on a host. No, there is no Docker network anymore if you're running on a host. Simple, same command. Docker run -d -p blah blah hyphen name test hyphen net or network host. Keep it like this, and that's it. So what happens here is it's created a container. Obviously, inspect it. See, there is no IP address. Why like that? Earlier we used to have IP address, right? When we used the bridge network, there is no IP. No, there was an IP address, but now see it's not there. You know why? The network is host. It means the IP address whichever host has, that IP address will be assigned to container. As I told you, host network means the container directly running in your host network itself. So there is no Docker network here. It means there won't be any Docker IP. So whatever the IP you will be used from the host itself, from the host. Got it? From the host itself. Now your host IP is same for the container also, for Docker container. What is the use of this, you may ask? So what happens is, let's say I'm running Nginx in bridge network, and what happens? I access it. First, what happens is it will come to host network. From host network, based on the port mapping, it will go to container network. So Nginx 80:80 I gave. It means left side 80 is host and right side is container, right? So based on the mapping, so based on the port mappings, it will go actually. It, it, it will send the request. Got it, right? So now host network means there is no need of that because directly we are running the container in the host network. No need to forward the traffic to container network anymore, and that's why no need to map the ports. If you see here, it's throwing error warning. Published ports are not discarded when using host network mode because the mapping is not required anymore. See why we map, so that the request whatever comes to host port 80 will forward to container port 80 because they are two different networks. That's why we're mapping the ports. But here we are running in the host network. We don't need to map anymore. Then what port it will use? Whatever by default this image uses the port 80, right? Or Nginx will 8 use 80 or Tomcat 8080 or Jenkins 8080, Nexus 808081. That will be used by default when you use a host network. Got it? Let's run Jenkins maybe. Okay, let's run maybe anything. Let's say Jenkins. Jenkins, what is Jenkins port number will be 8080, right? Let's remove it because it's not required. We are not mapping anything. No, Jenkins image is not there. Jenkins Docker image. Search for like this. What is the image name? Okay, let's use this. Let's see, it'll take some time. Obviously, we need to download the image. Why it is downloading so many things? That we'll see tomorrow. Don't worry. All these things. Yeah, so that's fine. It's fine. I'll just create as Jenkins. The name I forgot to change. Yeah, just save it. So Jenkins is created, but if you see no ports, inspect it. Docker inspect. Where is the port? See, 8080. Of course, I can have access with it. Localhost. Well, it'll take some time. Let's wait. Because see 8080. And which network? Obviously, host. Oh, sorry, below. Host network. So IP address means my system IP address itself. No need to map anything now. Why we are mapping in the first place is because there is a Docker network also. There is a container network. Sorry, there is a container network as well as there is an what is that? A host network, right? So whenever you send a request, the request will first come to host network. From there, it will go to container network. To work like that, we mapped the ports. So through that ports, it will route the traffic and it will reach the container. But now it's a host network. So no need of mapping anymore. That's why we removed mapping, and whatever the port it's present in the container by default, where is that? It will use that. So you don't need to do anything extra. You can able to access with 8080 by default. Will take some time because Jenkins takes some time to load it. Or you can try Nginx. See, Nginx came. It'll work because my network is fine. I mean, not like that, but you try it, it'll work. I mean, okay, I'm inside VPN. Sorry, it's fine. So it'll work like this. Don't worry, it'll work. That's with my VPN. That's how you use host network. So now when you run your container in a host network, what does that mean? Is see earlier what we used to do? We create multiple containers, right? Let's try. We create multiple containers like this. 82 port number we map to like this. Same Nginx image, different port numbers we'll use to map it because they are to we used to run a bridge network. So of course there's a Docker network. It means it provides isolation. But now it's host network. It means there is no mapping by default. 80 port will be taken. It depends on the image. Now you cannot run another container with the same image in a host network. Let's try docker run -d -name test something random things -net host nginx alpine. It ran, but observe now there are two containers with 80 port. Which one you will access? Both are running in host network, obviously. Both same image, both use 80 by default. Now if I access here, which container will open? Earlier we used to map the ports. So with the port number, host port number, we make sure that the host port must be unique. So that's why we give 82, 83 random, whatever it is, whichever is available. But now what will access? Of course, both needs to be accessed by host no container porter. It means 80. So how can we access 80? I mean, two containers. How can we access 80? It's not possible. We cannot. We cannot access it. That's why only one container is allowed. If we are using host network, because there is no mapping, it will use the host network by default. That's why. That's about host network. Of course, do we use host network anytime? Hmm, sometimes, maybe there is we'll get situations like, hmm, we used to run cron job actually in a Docker container to make it faster. Usually what happened is it was just it's connect talking to system fetching some things, some blah blah something else. At the time we ran that in a host network because it will make faster. Instead of going to container network from there to host network, so directly talk to host network. That's why we ran in that host network. But not mostly because that's mostly we'll use bridge only by default within the host. Don't use host unless unless it's mandatory. You got what I'm saying, right? Now finally there is something called none network. Of course, it does not do anything. We cannot do anything with it. Simply it does not assign any IP address. Simple. So just run the same command. None. That's it. Now this container etst4 does not have any network. Sorry, it does not have any network. See, none. It means we cannot access this. Whatever running inside it, we cannot access it. There is no point of using that, obviously, but yeah, there is one type exist. I just want to tell you. Why the why the hell the none network is exist present then? If we don't want to, if there is no use of that, there will be use of that. Sometimes, let's say we got a task. See, I have a container. I don't want to connect with any network or something because whatever running inside it does not need of that. We don't need to access anything whatever present inside that. Like let's say some script is running, but we don't need to access the script from outside or something. It'll run it and it'll stop. That's it. If there is no network dependency, if whatever the task running in a container, there is no dependency, then we can use none network. Obviously, I never used it so far because I don't know. I didn't find the reason. Maybe one time I've used it. Just we have a script running, which that's it. Just doing some things which does not needed the network. That's it. That's the only time I've used it. What? That's but yeah. Apart from that, no use of non-network. Good. So these three are the types of networks available, and of course, overlay is one of the other thing which we'll discuss. As I told you, right when the topic comes, when the time comes, we'll discuss that. Got it? So bridge is used to communicate between containers within a single host. See, don't get confused. So host, machine, server, all are same. Got it? Don't get if I'm saying host, sometimes I say machine, sometimes I say server, all are same. Don't say it laptop. Got it, right? So it's fine. Yeah. So now, what is this host network? We run container directly in host network so that it will the whatever the IP address host has, it will be used by the container also. No specific separate IP address for container, unlike in Docker bridge network. And of course, no network at all. If you want to run a container isolatedly without accessing any network, without need of accessing any network, then of course you can use non-network. Got it? That's about networking. This is enough for today. I mean, it will be confusing if I say too much. Anything, any questions before I close? Any questions, any doubts so far? Anything? Sorry. If nothing, yeah, we can close the call and 1 minute. Let me delete this RMI, right, to delete the image. Yeah. If anything, we'll meet tomorrow same time. We can close the call. Bye. Bye, everyone.